to Travolting, covering Welcome to Hollywood, with very special guest, David Manzolillo. Enjoy the episode.
We're rolling.
Stuart, are you ready to be welcome to Hollywood? Because I, for one, am ready to be welcome to Hollywood. I've put my time in. I've done the work. I've worked in the industry. And I, for one, am ready to be welcome to Hollywood.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Travolting podcast. I'm your co-host, Stuart Elmore, and we're covering Welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah, we're covering the 1998 classic. The movie, the mockumentary. Many call it the Spinal Tap of the film industry.
I just didn't know what to do with that intro.
Who are they? Who's calling it that? Can I get some names and references, please?
Many people are saying.
Oh, many people are saying
that Welcome to Hollywood is the Spinal Tap of the movie industry.
Oh, okay.
It's very well known.
Also, welcoming our very special guest, as from our intro, David.
Yeah.
Go on, pronounce the last name. I dare you.
I don't want to do that.
Do it.
Manzolillo.
You say it?
Yeah, got it.
Say it.
Manzolillo.
Manzolillo. Yes.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Yeah.
that's fine. How do you spell that?
Manzolillo. Would you like my social security number too?
I mean, I bet a lot of people on Spotify would probably like
it's
that.
two.
What if it becomes our
Wait,
most
you started
listened?
with 2?
Riddle me this. My
Social security number not 2. Damn you, Roosevelt.
You have 30 minutes to solve my social security number.
Welcome to Hollywood 1998.
Yes. First, I'd just like to thank all our listeners for listening to last week's episode on Primary Colors, an episode we are definitely recording right now. We've definitely already done. An episode we're definitely not recording in a month.
And you are listening to this. When would our audience be listening to this episode, Jeff?
September 7th.
So this would be, a week after 9/11 anniversary.
A week before.
A week before.
Is there something?
4 days before.
Is there something you want to tell us? You know about the timeline?
9/11, not 9/1. Jesus fuck. Sorry,
My birthday's on the 20th.
3 days before 9/11 anniversary.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm including
Never
that.
forget.
Or week after Labor Day.
Yeah,
or is that September 30th?
I think it's actually the day after Labor Day. Because I believe Labor Day is always a Monday.
Yeah.
So I think this will be because this comes out Monday night, Tuesday morning. So I think it's the day after Labor Day.
Huh.
So anyway, John Travolta.
Yes.
So John Travolta.
Yes.
Jeff, I want to preface us going into this podcast in
Yeah, it's the day after Labor
letting
Day.
the audience know that I was told by Jeff which movie I would be doing. I didn't get to
Yes.
choose. And I went in on the preface of I'm not going to Google this movie in any way, shape, or form. So I thought, and I didn't know anything about like how you operated this podcast, if he has to be a star or if it's just any movie he's in. So I went into this thinking we're going to go watch a John Travolta movie. And when I see him pop up in the first 10 seconds and then just fuck off into the ether until the end of the movie, I wanted to slap the shit out of you because I had no idea what I was getting into.
See, Dave, we're recording this on my birthday weekend, and I was like, I could make him cover a good movie. And I was like, we're not gonna have a lot of time, so I wanted to make it didn't want to make like the Thin Red Line, which is 3 hours.
He was
long.
going to give me the Thin Red Line.
I was gonna give you the Thin Red Line originally.
Oh my god.
But then I was like, I'll make it a shorter movie. And I was like, this just sounds like some like Dave content. I don't know why, but something about the description of
I'm mad.
Like an indie filmmaker.
He appeared on screen talking, and then he disappeared, and I just went, Jeff, is that it? Is that Jeff?
And then I chuckled to myself and pulled my pipe out and and put my bathrobe on
like,
and
did
sat
you
by
just-
the fireplace and laughed
Did
to
you
myself.
just rope me into watching this movie with a 10-second, 2-line John Travolta cameo?
Hey, it's 3 lines. He has another line at the end of the movie.
Yeah. This gave me Boris and Natasha flashbacks. PTSD flashbacks.
You mean our best episode?
Our worst episode.
That isn't White Man's Burden?
Oh, White Man's Burden is the worst.
Yes.
But it's his second. Well, The Experts is pretty bad. Moment by Moment is pretty bad.
Moment by moment, we spent 30 minutes talking about Jurassic Park.
Eyes of an Angel, we spent 45 minutes talking about Toy Story.
No, that's Basements.
I see this as a
Oh, that is
hyper-focused.
Basements.
We got a message from someone saying, "Why did I go into this? I was looking forward to a discussion of Harold Pinter, and I came out hearing about the dumb baby toys." But no, this week, for our audience and also for us, we're all being welcomed to Hollywood.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Yes, John Travolta, a known part of the Hollywood establishment at this time.
David, did you know that this was a fake documentary going into it?
No, I told you I didn't view anything on this,
Yeah.
but when we got to the point of he did the thing of you were my first you were my first choice, when we got to he did the you were my first choice, and then the guy said he's going off to do another movie that is under NDA, and he went to the other guy. I'm like, okay, so we're doing a mockumentary here.
Yeah. That was kind of
And-
how I sort of saw it too.
And I had questions about, because once we started watching the movie and I saw who it was directed by, I went to go look into his filmography, because like we got all these cameos and shit. I'm like, how many favors could he pull? And I looked in his filmography. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And who does he have blackmail on that he just popped all these people into this film?
Well, I think there's quite a gimmick as to how he pulled this off.
yeah.
Because, well, the Baywatch stuff, I have no idea how exactly.
I mean, it's Hasselhoff. You can.
yeah.
I think
probably threw him a few bucks in an autograph, and
Probably.
but it's time to take a little journey to the context corner.
Oh, yeah, the context corner.
Start off because
What-
we'll probably dive right
What
into this.
context do you have for John Travolta in this movie?
Not much, except for John Travolta is very much a part of the Hollywood machine at this point. He's back. He's A-list. His movies are consistent hits. He hasn't really had like a flop since Pulp Fiction necessarily. There have been movies that have done better than others, but
That roster, is that true?
Isn't he the only
right
person with
after,
like?
I mean, with the exception of White Man's Burden, which doesn't really count.
It doesn't really count, right?
It's Get Shorty, big success. Broken Arrow, big success. Phenomenon, success. Michael, success. She's So Lovely, Face Off, Mad City, and Primary Colors have been our last few episodes.
So
that we had a great time talking
Yeah,
about.
he really hasn't had a flop since then.
It's been movies that have done better than others, but there hasn't been one that's like, this is a career ender.
Yeah.
So he's big. He's very indicative of Hollywood. He's popping up at he's always at the Oscars. He's going to the premieres. He's playing the game at
He's
this
in
point.
the Scientology.
He's very this is
very-
around the time he does a Scientology PSA,
Yeah. Right.
which is very interesting.
Wait, are we covering that PSA?
We're not covering that PSA.
Yeah, we don't want.
But we're covering this movie.
We are covering this movie.
Here's the thing: if you
It's
cover,
a
if you-
short film. So it doesn't really, it's a short film, and it's not really like a movie. It's a PSA.
If you cover that PSA, you will be getting Scientology mail in your inbox the rest of your life. So,
True.
good luck.
Yeah, no, they will come to my house and abduct me.
Yes, they will bring you to Lord Xenu.
Stuart, you will. A person will come to you and say, "I heard what you did," and
Stop. Stop.
we both know who.
No. Oh, God. Oh, man.
I know you.
Okay, so anyway,
So yeah, he's big. He's famous.
he's a name and a face in Hollywood for
and
sure.
so
in the
when
A-list
this
category.
movie, a self-described parody, biting satire of the Hollywood system,
Yeah.
comes around, who's better to start off this movie than with one of the biggest guys out there right now,
John
Travolta.
He's
our
the
man.
first person we see.
He's, if you don't count, there's a little intro.
It's a short intro, but he's like almost right away.
That's basically the context. I can't really find much on the making of this movie. So, as near as I can tell, the intro is basically what happened when we're introduced to one of the stars of this movie, Adam Rifkin, a real ball of charisma, if I do say so.
Carried the entire movie.
He carried the movie. An indie filmmaker with a ponytail.
Oh man, we love those.
Yeah.
We love those guys.
Who talked about how he's had nothing but highly successful documentary films.
Mm-hmm.
He's working on his next movie. But in between, he's directing this biting satire of Hollywood called Welcome to Hollywood.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Welcome to Hollywood.
All right, were you guys welcome to Hollywood?
I did not feel welcome to the Hollywood during this movie. I'm going to be real with you.
I mean, I grew up in Indiana.
Mm.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I did not have any family, any friends, like connection in Hollywood. And so my kickstarting into the industry was through leaving my office job at Fort Wayne, Indiana. God bless you, Sweetwater. I still love you guys, but I didn't like the office job. And moving to Chicago and becoming a filmmaker. And so literally like started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah.
Hollywood did not welcome me. I welcomed Hollywood.
Hell yeah.
And so, yeah, short way to put it.
Yes.
But watching this mockumentary has definitely like put things in a perspective. Because I mean, it's obviously different for actors than it is for crew. People who are trying to break into the industry crew wise.
Yeah.
Like with actors, it is so much about just the look.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to open your mouth and you're discounted. You don't even get your first day at work where they evaluate your work ethic before you're discounted. Like at least like, you know, Jeff and I, you and I are like production assistants on some pretty high, you know, big name notable shows. And we get those jobs because we impress someone before us with our work ethic and our personality.
Yeah. Whereas an actor,
they can be discounted just
On
by
their
the
nose.
on the nose.
yeah.
And an eyebrow and like a chin.
Yes.
You know.
And then there's Steve Buscemi.
And then there's Steve
A
Buscemi.
human cigarette who somehow became one of Hollywood's most beloved character actors.
Heartthrobs right there. Fight me on that. So
Have you ever just thought about how Steve Buscemi looks like a stubbed out cigarette? I mean this in the nicest way possible.
Do you though?
I don't know. I don't know how I can.
I don't think I can diss friend of the show, Steve Buscemi.
He's a frequent guest.
He is a frequent
We
guest.
gotta have him back after his stunning performance on Primary Colors.
Next, after Jack Nicholson, we have Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi. I can't do a Steve Buscemi, so he doesn't actually live here.
But I know he doesn't live here, but he's a friend of the
he's a friend of the show.
friend of the show for sure. Tweets us all the time at Travolting Pod.
Travolting Pod on Twitter or
Yeah.
Instagram.
So yeah, this mockumentary is this indie director who wants to document the
Rise of an actor.
rise of an actor,
The rise of a movie star.
and they lay out the difficulty of the premise right away, which is how do you know?
That's how do you know if someone's got it?
How do you know if
Whatever
someone's got it?
is.
And even if they got it, how do you know when they're going to make the jump? Because some actors, they don't get their break until they're 50, 40,
Yeah.
or 60. For men, especially. But for women, it's like they get a quick uptick and then they go down at 40.
Yeah.
I mean, for women who try to break into the industry later in the game, they're obviously, as sexist as it is, immediately getting their uptick would be like a mom role or like
Yeah.
a grandma role or like some sort of like role in that
Yeah.
regard. For the leading man stuff, it's like there is a longer time span of which men can have like their takeoff. And this documentary is very masculine centric. Like they hire a fucking girlfriend in this
Yes.
mockumentary.
Yes.
Like very quality of the time in the 90s.
This movie describes itself as a biting satire.
Yes.
I wanted to bite something on.
I don't think the satire necessarily lands. I do think in terms of biting, this movie is actually fairly accurate into how the industry works. It's just that it's not a good movie. So the fact that it's biting on the correct like nerve isn't working.
It tries to run the deadpan humor gamut of everything going wrong, but it just feels like everything's actually going wrong instead of comically going wrong.
And I think one of the key things I was thinking where it took me a while to realize this was a mockumentary. And the reason being it did. And it was like probably
So what was the tip off?
The tip off was how obviously shitty Nick Decker was as an actor. You would not watch that guy walk into a room and a casting director in all seriousness say, that's the guy you want to put all your bucks in for a documentary on him rising. Like, no. And so, but here's the issue. And this goes to your point, David, and your point, Jeff, about like how the satire doesn't really land, but the bite does. Whereas like Nick is not like, we don't see him act too much. There's a lot of audition scenes. There's a lot of him doing some stuff. There's a lot of him like saying some lines. There are some scenes where they like poke fun at his acting, but for the most part, it's like the satire is like his journey, not so much his skill.
Yeah.
But it's those moments we saw his skill, which tipped to me, oh, this is a mockumentary. Because like, no fucking way would you actually get this guy.
I got it with the when they go for the first guy. What was it? David Lane.
David Lake.
David Lake.
That was it.
Which is a good name.
Yeah, when they go for David Lake, and he's like, "You're my first choice," and then he says, "I have this role, and they have an NDA, and I don't think I can do this documentary with it." And he goes to Nick Decker, and he's like, "You were my first choice." I'm like, "Oh, okay, so we're in mockumentary land right now," because I doubt like in the middle of a documentary like that they were going to pull a joke like that.
Like Hollywood is very over the top and funny.
Yeah.
But it's never that obviously over the top and funny.
I kind of thought it was just a
The
thing. Filmmakers making it a funny documentary.
Like what
but
would have made this movie, I don't want to say work, but would have made it work better, is had the premise very explicitly been about like, hey, I'm going to document my friend trying to make it into Hollywood. Or if it had been, we're gonna follow the attempt of an older actor to get into Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like if Nick Decker had been
Dick Decker.
that is, I laugh so
Okay,
hard.
that
is
was
a great
that was a
bit.
clear mockumentary point right
Yes.
there.
Which we'll get to that scene. But he feels like if his like disadvantages had been the point of the movie, I almost would have like
Liked it more.
yeah, it would have worked. A little more.
I agree.
Like if it
with
had been
that.
about a guy an egotistical guy who doesn't have it and his attempt to get into the industry, I would have been like, okay, that's the premise we can roll with.
Yeah.
Instead, this movie starts off, we're gonna show a guy with promise trying to become an actor, and he sucks from like the first scene. I'm like,
What?
that's why Spinal Tap works and this doesn't. Because Spinal Tap's actually good, kind of good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Is that
Yeah.
like when things go wrong for them, it goes wrong in a comic way
Yeah.
instead of a sad way where it's just like, oh, he got fucked
Yes.
over because blah. Like getting the Stingray part is just like too weirdly surreal. Like I know Spinal Tap gets surreal with the way things fail for them, but the Stingray just feels like of all the,
was in danger of being crushed by a dwarf.
yeah, like of all the ways that it could have gone wrong for him on that shoot, the Stingray just felt like that is the tipping point where you realize, okay, we're in full mockumentary mode right now. Because I doubt like you would have started this documentary. It's, oh no, we got hit by a Stingray. Anyways, here's this.
Yeah.
But we'll start going through this moment by moment.
Get the fuck
And
out.
homage
Okay.
to our great
Get the
episode.
Well,
fuck
Jeff
out.
has been replaced on the podcast by me permanently.
Yep.
But we start off and we meet Adam Rifkin, and he explains this premise to us about how he's gonna find the next it guy
Yeah.
and make them a star.
Yeah.
And then we get the title font sequence, which is like Microsoft Paint ass font over to the Hollywood sign where it says "Welcome to Hollywood."
I completely missed that somehow. Actually,
Yeah, it's literally like Adobe Premiere text, and then you just use the default font. But after that, we're introduced to the gimmick of this movie and the reason why we're covering it. Because if you look at the box of this movie, because I had to order a DVD, it is very hard to find this movie online.
But we're Travolting and we
Yes.
work for you, the audience.
Yes, I have a shelf of John Travolta like DVDs that are like illegal, impossible to find. This movie on the box and on IMDb lists every single famous person ever as being in it, and that is very clearly a publicity move.
Yeah.
But it's the conceit of this movie that in between like scenes, it cuts to red carpet interviews with famous celebrities, asking them what makes a star.
Yeah.
And you can tell and you can see it's Adam Rifkin asking these questions with a little like with a little microphone with a flag that says "Welcome to Hollywood."
Yeah.
So this man just paid for a press pass to be at the Oscars and all these movie premieres, just to get all these celebrities to be in his movie,
Yeah.
which is a very smart move.
I was going to say, I mean,
it's a good move.
dedication to his craft. I mean, like, if their budget for the movie, you're looking at the line sheet and you see press passes for, I don't know how much a press pass goes
Yeah.
for, but like probably a good chunk of money.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, wait, what are we doing with this documentary? It's like, trust me on this one.
Yeah. But the first person we see at exactly the 55-second mark of this movie is the one and only John Travolta. He pops up and he's asked, what makes a star? And he's like, oh, I'm caught off guard by this. He's like, well, there's a quality, a presence, an acting ability. It could be anything. And
I didn't realize that John Travolta was voiced by Bill Clinton.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Here's the thing:
David, you
the
don't
movie
wanna
we
bring
covered.
this out,
Here's the thing: the
man.
movie we covered last week, Primary Colors. John Travolta is actually playing Bill Clinton in that.
Oh my God, are you serious?
He's playing a guy with a different name who looks like Bill Clinton, dresses like Bill Clinton, is very explicitly Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
We had a great conversation about Bill Clinton. I did the accent a lot in that episode.
This has been a Bill Clinton-centric week for us.
Yes.
Yes, it has.
Stuart, you haven't seen Black Widow?
No.
There's a very wild image of Bill Clinton in that movie that I've been thinking about all weekend.
Do you want to describe it on this podcast?
Let me
It is no spoilers. It's like
It's the
in
opening
the first.
credits.
Yeah, it's the opening credits. So it's not like we're going, oh hey, this is that, and here's a spoiler.
I cannot imagine Disney intentionally did this in Black Widow. But in the opening credits, it's essentially like a time lapse opening credits.
Mm-hmm.
It's showing you like the history of Black Widow through the years.
Yeah,
And,
this
like,
big spy network.
and this whole like big spy network, and like you see shield files and stuff popping up. But the villain of the movie, General Dreykov, played by Ray Winstone in the hammiest performance of the year thus far. I love Ray Winstone. Jack, stop.
What's Jack doing?
Jack's clambering around upstairs. He's probably looking for his glasses.
Oh, gotcha.
But there's a shot in this where it's like showing like how connected with the webs of power he is. And mind you, this man's gimmick is he kidnaps little girls and makes them into spies.
so it's not like a human trafficking trade going on of little girls.
It gets to the 90s. And we just see this Photoshop picture of Ray Winstone, like hand in hand with Bill Clinton, just hanging out in the White House lawn. Mm-hmm. And it is very wild that this movie is accidentally inferring that Bill Clinton was involved in this child trafficking trade to turn them into supervillains for the Soviet Union.
Disney did this?
It is very clearly unintentional. You can tell that this is just trying to show that he's with people in power. But if you take a second to think about it, you're like, wait, the implication here is that
the
implication here is that they were buddy buddy.
like you could, like it's like, yeah, we just want to show he's connected to like power, but he's secretly doing this thing on the side. But it's very like that's not made explicit. This movie makes a very wild inference by mistake.
I love that.
And I just
love
think
that so much.
I think that is so funny.
Well, all right.
So this has been a very Bill Clinton centric week.
So John Travolta
Yes.
Yeah.
in this movie,
He's
Makes-
asked, what makes a star?
what makes a star? And
And-
he gives all the actors and directors' responses are pretty well fucking generic, which
Yeah.
is just like
I mean,
determination.
They're used to the press asking these
and
dumb questions
passion.
and these basic.
Yeah.
I think John Travolta's is more interesting than the others, if only because
just because we're biased.
partially, but I also think it informs him as an actor, and what we've been talking about this whole show. I think it informs like what he's trying to do in his movies. Like a lot of them are just like, it's the commitment, it's the drive, and John Travolta's just like describing why he thinks he's a star. And he's like, it's, a quality, it's a presence, it's an acting ability. And so he's just, it's the generic words, but it's the way he's describing himself that I just find very interesting. And what he thinks makes his star power is his presence, which I would agree with. I think his presence is a big part of his success in the movies we've liked of his. It's not, it's just like he has this kind of, I don't want to say magnetism, but this aura around him.
Yeah.
Where in a good performance or a bad performance, it's the presence of John Travolta, and he brings a very specific energy to this movie. And that's what he's saying in this moment, is the energy he brings makes him a star, because when a movie he's in, it becomes a John Travolta movie.
Is this a John Travolta movie?
Yes. On Wikipedia, he is one of the only 4 actors listed as this movie. In like the starring tab.
And we thank you very much for listening to this episode. That
That's
was,
it.
Yeah, and that is the end.
Oh, we
of
got to talk about his cameo at the end too.
Yeah.
we got to talk about the whole fucking movie.
Yes. First, did you
Please
want to do your thing?
Oh, yeah. The hair ranking. Cue the music. All right. Welcome to the hair ranking report. I'm your co-host, Stuart Elmore.
I'm your co-host, Jeff Sweeney.
I'm your co-host David Manzolello, and I have no idea where this is going.
So,
Oh, yeah, you haven't. You don't know
you
about
don't
the
know
hair
about
report.
this.
He doesn't know about
Do
the
you
hair
not listen to our podcast, David?
I've listened to one episode.
He's been subscribed.
I'm subscribed. I'm there cheering from the sidelines.
What episode did you watch?
What the fuck? Which one was the one you sent me? I didn't remember.
Was it
now.
Pulp Fiction?
No, I didn't listen to the whole Pulp Fiction. Like 2.5 hours. I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm a busy man.
This is fair.
Yeah. I think it was whatever the first. What was the first episode? you
Devil's
guys-
Rain?
That was it. Yes.
The Devil's Rain.
The Devil's
'Cause-
Rain. Or the
we
best
I
movie
don't,
we've
I don't
ever
think we
covered.
did a hair ranking report on Devil's
Because
Rain.
you sent,
We did.
You
We
sent
did?
me the
Without the music.
you sent me the link when when this first started.
Yeah.
And I probably should actually start listening to
Yes,
these.
you should.
But
Yeah,
I'm
now
sorry.
you're on it.
I'm drowned in podcasts, dude.
Well, this is the podcast to really be drowned in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because it's
You get
Travolta.
drowned in hair quality.
Speaking of drown, this movie makes me want to drown.
well,
the character
speaking
almost
of
drowns in this movie.
drown, John Travolta's
Hey,
hair is
he's
drowning in
Product.
Product.
Am I right?
I mean, not really. I mean, his hair in this. For context for you, David, every episode we rank the hair of John Travolta out of all of his movies, and at the end of this podcast, we'll have an almighty hair ranking where we rank like his hair.
67 hairstyles.
67
Who's
hairstyles.
currently in the lead?
Staying alive.
Staying Alive.
Okay.
1980.
81 or 82.
Can I
Yeah.
make a bold guess? The loser of this entire podcast, last place, will be the Fanatic.
The Experts from 1989 is in last place right now. And if you see what his hair looks like, Jeff is going to pull up a picture. Nothing will beat it.
Have you seen the Fanatic?
Not yet, but I know it's.
Well, good luck.
Okay, but you gotta look at
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, God, he's got like a Robert Smith style thing going on without the
Yeah.
charm of Robert Smith.
Yeah.
He's a full mullet.
Oh, no.
Full
Oh,
mullet.
wait, it was a mullet? I thought it was. Oh, no, it is a mullet.
It's a full mullet.
It's real
Oh,
rough.
no.
Yeah, it's in last place right now.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's in last place under the Devil's Rain, which he wears a hood in like the entire film.
It is to my understanding we will be covering a movie in which he is bald.
Yeah.
I think that somehow still might be not the expert.
Which movie is he bald? Wait, no, hang
I think
on.
it's. I think there's two. I think it's The Killing Season and From Russia. with
Wait, isn't he
Love.
bald? Isn't he bald towards the end of Gotti?
I
when
don't
he's
know.
in the prison?
I've never heard of that movie. I've
I-
never heard of that
oh,
movie.
well,
I've
hey,
never heard
hey,
of that movie.
we
in
don't
picture.
talk about
We
that
don't- We
movie.
don't talk about
We
that
don't
movie.
talk
in
about
picture.
that movie.
I don't know what that's called.
So, Jeff, quick question. What's that shirt you're wearing right there?
Hey, whoa. Okay, so the hair ranking. We gotta continue the hair ranking. So this movie,
You want the picture or the hair ranking up right now?
I want the hair ranking up. Okay, so is that Jack?
Is that Jack? Hey,
That's
Jack.
Jack.
Hey, Jack. No, Jack just flipped us off.
Guys? I was upstairs looking for my glasses.
He just
Sunglasses, you know.
Why are you talking to us behind a door, Jack?
I'm grabbing some beers from the fridge.
Jeff,
I'm
this
gonna go sit on the deck.
Okay, Jack. Okay, Jack. Enjoy sitting on the deck and drinking some beers in your sunglasses. You're wrong, rascal. Oh, Jack.
he's been doing this bit for a while.
I want to
now.
hit him right
Jack.
now.
Oh,
I want to reach across
All right,
this
the
table.
hair ranking.
Hair
We
rank.
got to finish the hair ranking. Okay, so in the 15 seconds we have him in this movie,
Yes.
there's not. Go back. Can you show the photo?
Yeah.
He's got a little tuft of hair going on in the front right there.
Like it's like the kind of standard, pull it back, like it's. I would put this in the category of standard Travolta hair.
Yeah. Standard Travolta hair. All right. So what are we thinking on this list?
I'm gonna put this below Look Who's Talking Now and above Basement's the Dumbwaiter.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard, stereotypical hair.
Looks a little unprepped.
A
On that
little
day.
unprepped, yeah. Yeah, like it wasn't like the Academy
It
Awards.
has his
It
general look going on, but it looks like
Yeah.
it wasn't like actually.
It wasn't the
What's the
Oscars.
word?
It wasn't the Emmys. It was clearly like some press event that he probably didn't go too
Well,
hard in the paint into when it
Most
came
of these
to.
interviews were at this singular event. So, is it ever explained what event they're at?
No, this image, his hair in this has tremendous. Stuck his fingers in product and then brushed it through
Yeah,
once.
And
Exactly.
just hauled it in.
And that has tremendous energy of that.
Yeah.
So we're looking below. Look who's talking now. Above basement's the dumbwaiter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where it deserves. And I have no other thoughts on the hair ranking in this point. So that's the hair ranking. Cue the music. Okay.
Great hair ranking.
Great hair ranking.
Rate hair. Great.
Great hair ranking.
Great. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
So yeah,
Yep.
we go through a little montage showing a few other people who Adam
Adam
Rifkin's
Blep.
asking about their fame, and we have Joel Schumacher and Sandra Bullock. There's Jeff Goldblum, who is so lovely with his answer. Can we just talk about how lovely that man is in this answer?
I'm going to say something that might get Jeff to beat the shit out of me
What?
here. His whole persona is starting to get grating on me.
I think Dave is no longer my friend.
I'm sorry, dude.
He's just,
Did you watch Thor Ragnarok?
Yes, I did, and that one works because I can picture this character being like that without Jeff Goldblum in the role. Like I can picture this character just being this, like laid back, doesn't give a shit style, like just not a care in the world.
Are you aware that during the production of Independence Day, Jeff Goldblum and Harry Connick Jr., in spite of sharing no scenes together, hit it off really well and played jazz piano every night after set? It's the sweetest thing.
And they
I've
were
ever
never
heard.
on screen together.
They never shared a screen time. They just both are jazz people, and I just love that.
Look, I'm sorry. His whole thing is just getting great.
Jeff Goldblum took like 3 years away from acting to play jazz piano at a club.
Doesn't he have an album?
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he's the world's best actor. He has a type that he plays.
Yes, he plays that type, but it's at this point it is his brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is nothing else about him besides the fact that he is this weird, quirky, almost spaced out type guy.
Yeah.
It's the
it's
the daddy brand.
It's
yeah.
I'm sorry, it's getting grating on me.
Finds a way.
like other actors have their whole shtick. Like Ryan Reynolds has his whole like he's just
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
I'm in this movie now.
Yes, he's
in. I'm because I break the fourth wall. I'm really charming.
yes, and
No disrespect. But
his is still fun for me. So far, so good.
Him and Blake Lively's bit is what brings me life. Like it's not that I like Ryan Reynolds or Blake Lively individually, but them as a couple, they're a power couple. Like their memes that they share with each other.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome because they just roast each other. It's a married couple, and I love it. Love it so much.
Yeah, this isn't the Ryan Reynolds cast. Maybe we'll do the Ryan Reynolds cast one day, but
I won't judge you that many movies, will I?
but we get to talk about X-Men Origins Wolverine at the very least,
Green
Oh,
Lantern.
Jesus.
and Green Lantern, and also the Change Up. I think it's called. It got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I remember that much. Some Jake
Reynolds has a lot of those.
Yes, boy does he.
Yeah.
Might be rougher than our later stage Travolting that we'll get to.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jeff Goldblum gives a very lovely answer, just like about how he's like stars are just great people and all that. It's very cute.
I think Wes Craven also had a good answer.
Yeah, Wes Craven. This movie gets the people who were big stars in the '90s, and
Yeah.
they mostly they're the ones who mostly give the fluff answers.
Right.
But they get a few interesting directors in there. Like we get Wes Craven, Cameron Crowe, Joel Schumacher, and
We
Mike
get
Lee.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Don't do the
That was
accent.
bad.
Don't
That was
don't
bad.
do it.
That was
Don't do
bad.
it. Stop doing voices,
Will
please.
Smith's answer. Can we just talk about
Oh
the sunglasses? Just like
He had those
what
prepped and ready.
What I forgot, like how extra Will Smith was
Yeah.
back in his heyday, and like
For the listener at home,
Well-
Will Smith is asked what makes a movie star, and he's like, "Oh, it's a certain level of cool." And then he takes his sunglasses out of his pocket and pops them on.
But wasn't that Men in Black? Weren't those the?
Those were the Men in Black.
Yeah,
Those were the
because
Men in
this
Black
was
glasses.
like
This was
Yes.
right after Men in Black.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So he just had them on hand for the whole press thing.
I believe that Will Smith probably has the Men in Black sunglasses on hand at any and all times.
Call him up right now. See if he has them on. Friend of the show, Will Smith.
Friend of the show, Will Smith.
Friend of the show.
You ever think about how Will Smith is married to Jada Pinkett Smith, and their kids are named Willow and Jaden?
I fucking hate you so much.
Have you never
right
thought
now.
of that?
No, I've not thought of that, and now I'm thinking of it. Now I can't stop thinking about it, and I hate you. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight while I think about
you
that.
ever think that in Look Who's Talking that it's James and Molly Ubracchio and their kids' names are Mikey and Julie?
That's just the first letter.
I know, but I'm just saying.
It's in the same vein, but
a lot of
it's-
parents do that.
A lot of parents do that. I just find it very funny that they just took the exact same names and then just gender flipped them for their kids.
I hate
Yeah.
you so much.
I think about that a lot.
So, well, yeah, there's a montage of stars giving some good fluff answers.
And then we get an Access Hollywood bit that is definitely, it has this really weird VHS sheen on it. It's like
Oh,
it were
yeah,
recorded off, like they pointed the camera at a
They
TV.
do this a lot in the film, and it starts to get annoying after a
Yeah,
while.
it does. Well, and like, because like the footage that they're capturing, I noticed this a lot in the Las Vegas scene when they're shooting a scene for
Yes.
Nick Degger.
When he's going around looking for, what's it? It starts with a C.
Carmine.
Carmine. that's it.
Carmine, yeah. It's
When he
like
says Carmine.
the camera they're using to shoot that with doesn't look bad.
Yes.
But then when they replay his actor's demo reel, it looks like shitty VHS quality.
Yes.
And it's like, did you degrade this to look worse?
Yeah, it does that. I think there's a point where it like cuts back and forth between regular footage and then does the VHS effect, and it's just really jarring. Mm-hmm. I don't like it because they never like if you're going to go for the VHS effect, the thing is they never also put that on the audio. As far as I'm aware, if I remember, they don't ever put that effect on the audio, right?
No, it's not
just
like
regular clear audio.
yeah.
It never sounds like it's from a recorded source.
And the thing is, this doesn't look like just a VHS rip. This looks like pointing a camera at a TV that's playing VHS.
Right.
Which is very strange. Like you can even kind of see like a distortion, like it's pointed at like a rounded screen.
And this guy is a real director.
Yes, Adam Rifkin is playing himself.
I looked through his credits, and I'm not going to lie, I don't recognize a single thing out of it.
The opening, like this Access Hollywood scene, he's playing him up like he is Spielberg. Like he's like,
Yes,
they're
yeah,
like,
it is
big
playing
hit director, like
Big hit director.
Adam-
He's doing all the crazy shots like
I'm not gonna lie, I saw a lot of like 1 and 2 star rating IMDb things on
Adam
the list.
Rifkin in this scene. He's trying to parody himself in this movie as if like a parody of like a big name director, which
Like we're supposed to be intimately aware of his personality.
yeah, like he's doing the thing where he's trying to make himself look humble by making fun of himself thinking he's famous. Where it's like, oh, he's so natural, he can just make fun of himself. He's probably a really down to earth guy, but it just ends
it doesn't work.
It ends up coming off like he just really thinks of himself in this way. Like he's some big shot guy. Like he's everyone's like, oh, Adam Rifkin, big guy. He
wrote
Yeah.
Small Soldiers,
He wrote Small Soldiers and
the last movie star.
and he wrote Mouse Hunt, like Gore Verbinski's masterpiece, Mouse Hunt.
Those are the only bits that I know. I'm looking at his
Yeah,
directing
I
IMDb.
scrolled and I'm just like, what is all this?
a lot of these are like 2.2, 3.9, 3.7 IMDb stuff. Like,
Are they all like? Are they shorts or are they films?
They're films. They're
all
features.
films?
Yeah.
Jesus, because he was pumping them out. How many directing credits does he have?
He has 25, and he started directing. His first feature was Never on Tuesday, 1988, which has a 4.5 on IMDb score. His latest one was
The Last Movie Star.
No, there's stuff after that.
I mean, it's like TV series or short stuff. So I would say his last like feature was The Last Movie Star 2017.
the
And, like-
last feature, the last movie star.
And like no
Yeah.
disrespect to the working director who like just subsides making like studio B movies and TV, but you can't be in that position and then go around and make this movie where you're hyping
Right.
yourself up as the shit.
Yeah.
Like being like you can't parody yourself in this type of movie
when no
like
one
that.
knows who you are.
If he wanted that vibe to work in this movie, he needed to hire an actor to play a parody of a director instead of just
No
doing it
offense
himself.
to regular listener Adam Rifkin.
Yes, regular listener Adam Rifkin. The last movie star, to my understanding, was actually pretty good. I think
It has like a
7 something on IMDb.
decent
didn't it?
IMDb. Its ratings are a little bit all over the place, right? Though it's like it's
if
got
I'm right,
Burt
it's-
Reynolds and National Lampoon.
if I'm
What's
right,
that
it's
guy's
Burt
name?
Reynolds' last movie.
Is it?
Well, it's
Oh.
also got
He did 5 like movies that don't even have a Wikipedia page afterward. But the last movie star was Burt Reynolds' like last real movie, quote unquote. And while I've not seen it, it's an A24 picture that is, to my understanding, just like an exploration of Burt Reynolds as an actor, and being like in a place where, like you're near the end of your career and Hollywood just doesn't have movie stars anymore. Hence,
Well, and I also love that it's got Chevy Chase in it as well, who's also kind of in the last few rounds of his days.
Chevy Chase is just.
Doesn't give a fuck anymore.
I read some interview where he's like, I don't understand why people don't hire me anymore.
And then you hear these stories how much of an asshole he is on set.
And then I go to his Wikipedia and there's just a thing that says feud with Bill Murray.
Oh, he.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the feud with Bill Murray. I knew
Yeah.
about what's her name? Aubrey Plaza, right? From
Yeah, he told Lucy. Oh wait, no, never mind. That's a different person.
what's the show? Community, right? No.
Yeah.
Community. She did an interview with I can't remember who, but they're talking about him on that show, and you can tell how hard she's trying to dance around,
nice.
saying he's like she's saying like, oh, that's just who he is, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to dance around it, but you can tell somewhere in there it's just like, yeah, I kind of know he's an asshole.
Chevy got fired from Community during the non-Dan Harmon season.
Okay.
And when Dan Harmon came back, I have not seen Community, but I know this story.
There was a interview with Donald Glover
Yeah.
with Community, and they were doing kind of the similar thing where they were reading him back quotes that Chevy Chase had said negatively about the show while he was on it.
Yeah.
About shit like I never understood the script.
Yeah.
I wasn't really interested in my character, and like Donald Glover's just like, I mean, that's kind of who he is.
Yeah.
He just like shows up on set, and he's sort of like a grumpy old man. And
Jack, I thought you were gonna wait outside, man.
my God.
It's all good. Don't even worry about it. Never rub another man's rhubarb.
All right, Jack, just stay over there. Okay. All right. We got rid of him.
That's gonna run. That's gonna run out dry real quick.
Yeah.
The bit is already dead.
I've been on this show for one episode, and I'm begging you, please.
Well,
stop.
it is to my understanding Jack's moving out next week. So I think we should be fine.
I think Jack might actually be moving out next week, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think he's moving out next week.
No, but I think Jack might be moving out next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your girlfriend's moving out next week, is what I'm trying to say.
Jack's your girlfriend?
Yeah, me and Jack Nicholson have a thing. It's fine.
The bit's dead.
Anyway, so the last bit about Chevy Chase before we get back to this movie is he was fired during the non-Dan Harmon season, and then Dan Harmon came back, and he wanted to bring Chevy Chase back. The studio said no, but he wrote a cameo for Chevy Chase, and the studio's like, he cannot film on our set. Wow. So they had to film Chevy Chase's cameo off set, and then he appears as a hologram in the episode.
That is astounding.
I have never seen Community. I just think that it's one of the
I've never seen it either.
I've
That just
watched
says-
all of it.
Oh, you
that
have?
just says
I've seen all
how
of Community.
Is it good?
immensely toxic he was that they had to hologram him into an episode.
I mean, like, he plays his part. It's not that like he's I wouldn't say like he phones it in. Throughout the season, like his character definitely has a role in it. What's funny enough is like his character is the oblivious, racist, sexist.
So he's just playing
ableist.
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase
Well,
was not
he-
aware they were filming.
Yes,
Right,
he's just
like
on
that's
set.
that's kind of like what, but like other people are saying, it's like he plays a role that might have been fairly easy for him to like fill in, I mean, but the thing is like he was always arguing about the script on the episodes and how he didn't think his character was like believable in some way. So like it might be unfair to say like he was playing a role that would be quote unquote easy for him to do, because I don't know if Chevy Chase is like sexist or racist. Maybe he is. I don't know of any press.
I mean,
I would put money on it, but I don't know for certain.
I'm not going to sit here and say definitively he's those things.
Yeah, like if someone emails travolting@gmail.com and shoots us some articles of all the allegations, then great. I just haven't read those
Don't
articles.
make me pull up his Wikipedia. It's always a good time when you pull up someone's Wikipedia article and you get a controversy section in the sidebar. That's when you know you're in for a trip.
Right. So he might have that, and that could be very well be the case. But all I will say, from having seen all of the Community, watched every episode, his presence wasn't super missed when he was gone.
Yeah.
Like he definitely had a role to fill as like, you know, the concept of everyone's going to community college and their variety of ages, and he's like the 65-year-old white guy who's trying to learn new skill for his job that he got fired from. Yeah, I mean it's a bit, and he played it pretty well.
Chevy Chase was, you could say, goodbye from Hollywood. But meanwhile, we're
that's the
getting
end of the show.
welcomed to Hollywood.
I would like to note how thin the content of this film is, that every 5 seconds we tangent it for something more interesting.
I mean, basically, so the next thing that happens in this movie is
They start looking for actors.
Yeah, they start looking for a lead for this
We're
movie.
3 minutes into this movie, by the
3
way,
minutes into
fellas.
this
And we're 45 minutes into this podcast.
So the host an open casting call. And, you know, we know that this movie is a mockumentary, so you can tell like these are all just hired actors who show up. But
Oh man.
yeah.
I'm gonna yawn.
That's how this movie's doing us.
We just have a montage of a bunch of different like young guys auditioning.
Yeah, they're looking for an uprising, like an up and coming actor who this casting director is helping them out with.
Yes. Who said she does all the Spielbergs.
Does she?
Okay. She absolutely does not.
Yeah.
But they go through all these young guys. There's one who they like called David Lake. And
Yeah.
then there's an older guy named what's his real name?
Well, it's like
It starts with a T. It starts with-
Tony Magello or something
Well,
like that.
the actor's name is Tony Marks.
Yeah, Tony Marks
But what's
is-
the character he's playing? I
I
forget.
don't.
Well, he changes his name to Nick Degger.
Yeah, but he has
But-
another fake name prior to that.
It's like Tony something. It's a different
Yeah.
last name.
Yeah, Tony Mars something.
Yeah.
But he shows up with just a Polaroid because he's new to Hollywood and ready to break out.
No resume or anything like that.
And they're like, well, this guy has got it, but he's old. David Lake has got it, and he's young.
And yeah.
So they go with David Lake. They go there.
Cut to restaurant scene.
Yes. He's like, you
where-
were my first, Adam Rifkin, our hero. He's
Yeah.
like, you were my first choice. And the guy's like, sorry, I got hired to do a feature in Texas.
and
for
they
a month."
had me sign an NDA, so I can't bring a camera crew
Yeah.
on.
So they immediately just cut to another restaurant where they're with.
Tony.
Yeah. And
You
they're-
were my first choice.
He says, you were my first. It's kind of a good bit. That's how they do it in Hollywood.
that was a fun one. Like, there are a few moments in this where you're like, okay, this is kind of fun here.
This is when I'm still like, okay, I get what this movie's trying to do. Let's see what happens.
It was post David Hasselhoff Baywatch
Yeah.
scene where this movie just tanked for me.
Yes. He's like, yeah, so basically you're just going to have to sell your life away to us. We're going to follow you for the next
Yeah.
year of your life until you make it. The end of this movie is going to be you making it and getting a big role.
I wrote down, they find a guy, ... oh man, ... this poor guy. Because, like, Jeff has the movie pulled up just for references for us. And the scene you have it on right now is perfect. The scene when he's sitting on a couch on the beach.
Yes.
Because the first thing that happens is as he's, like, talking to the guy, he puts his hand up to his mouth. And the director, Nick, right?
Yeah, Adam is the
Adam,
director.
he's like, don't put your hand up. We got to see your face. And that was like the first tipping point for me. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's going to be so green. And he's like,
Gonna get
he's gonna
destroyed.
get destroyed.
Yeah.
And like, he's already being called out for things. And I'm like, this poor guy.
He's indicative. He's like a picture perfect, for lack of a term, parody of like the guy who just moves to Hollywood and wings it. And like, I'm gonna be an actor.
Yeah.
Has a he's a midlife crisis.
He
guy.
does well at that.
Yeah.
He does well enough for this movie to feel like he is just generally lost 24/7.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I agree with that.
And like, this scene is just kind of displaying his goals and what he wants.
that face.
The actor playing him is Tony Marks, who has never done anything else.
Nope.
He has no other credits besides this movie.
Which I found hilarious. Like this was like when I didn't know it was a mockumentary. Like, oh, what kind of
I thought he
like
had, I thought he had writing credits.
He's the
too.
co-director on this movie.
Yes.
because for a reason.
I think, doesn't he have writing credits?
Let me check. Tony Marks.
Spelled Markes.
Okay, he does.
Yes, he has writing credits.
This
but
is
they're
his,
also
his
nothing
last
unknown.
credit. He has never done anything.
He died
as
in
an
the
actor.
stunt, for real.
He produced the movie Getting Hal in 2003.
That name's familiar to me.
He also directed it, and he probably wrote it. He was the second unit director for Detroit Rock City, and that is all of his credits.
So he's probably just like Rifkin's friend or something.
He's probably Adam Rifkin's friend, almost certainly.
It's either that or they pulled a real Welcome to Hollywood in the beginning to find someone.
And
then they just like, okay, now you're going to be in a mockumentary about the exact thing we just did to you.
Oh, maybe.
Um,
And then we go from that to some audition scenes.
yes.
Are
He's brought to a talent agency.
we gonna Jeff? Hold on one
Yeah.
second. Are we gonna go through minute by minute of the movie?
Oh no.
There are large swaths
I
of
was
this
gonna
movie
Yeah,
say,
we're
that
gonna
we
skip.
like-
We're gonna skip a lot of this.
I'm gonna
movie.
say because I'm just gonna get to the audition scene.
Yeah, they're are we talking
there-
about the
well-
taxi cab scene?
This scene's important.
Okay.
This scene's important because there's two lines in here that are essential.
Yeah.
You
The
haven't found
first
that?
is that they tell him his name is bad,
Yeah.
whatever Tony is, and they say they're going to name him Nick Decker.
Nick Decker.
Well, first they give him the one guy gives him some weird ass goofy name,
Oh,
which
yeah.
doesn't land for me.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a parody of Hollywood, trying to come up with a fake name for an actor.
If you guys had to change your name because of Hollywood standards, what would you change your name to?
Ooh, that's not a question I've thought of before, so I can't give you something off the bat. Do you have an answer for this?
Mark Soap.
Mark Soap?
Miles Ford.
I got nothing. I'm sorry, guys.
I would be Miles Ford
Hi-
if they forced me to
But
change
mine
my
would be
name.
Mark Soap.
Is
And
that
Mark
Soap?
Soap.
S-O-A-P. Soap.
is Miles Ford supposed to be Miles Teller and Harrison Ford?
Mark-
No, Miles with a Y. I like this. I have the
Okay. Named after.
Can we record another with very special guest Mark Soap?
very special guest Mark Soap. What if we did a whole episode where I'm like, yeah, Stuart can be it, so we have Mark Soap, and you just
And we just never
Yeah,
explained
Just
it?
never explained it.
Okay.
Mark Soap. But you imagine starring Mark Soap.
But he gets his fake name, Nick Decker, his screen name. And there's also a line that Adam says where he's looking at the camera. It's still and he's like, the question of this movie is, can you take someone who's not the obvious choice and make them a star? And
Which is a good question.
it's a good question, and
In
I
theory.
and while it doesn't really work for this movie, I do like it in context of our show. Mm-hmm. In the period we're at in Travolta's career, 'cause I'm trying to really just nail Travolta to this movie because he's barely in it. The period we're
how
at,
well that go with Boris and Natasha?
very well. Mr. and Mrs. OB.
Oh God.
Our best movie.
Fuck you.
But that's Travolta right now, especially with Pulp Fiction. Is
Not the
he
most
wa-
obvious.
He was the only actor who the studio fought for
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. He's not the obvious choice. He's at this point they think he's a has-been, a former good-looking guy who's whatever now, older. He's not the obvious choice, but they made him a star.
Yeah.
and he's a
and
star
then
again.
he immediately torpedoed it again.
Not immediately. We're still talking about some good movies around this one.
Okay.
We talked about Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow.
It got up to Pulp Fiction, and then it took about 5 steps down, and then gradually
Well, you
just
took
ran
a
back.
Battlefield Earth. What can I say?
Yeah.
But then after this, it's the auditions.
It's the auditions.
Yes. Oh wait, we just talked about the one good joke of this movie.
Is it the taxi driver?
It's he gets some headshots printed.
Oh yeah, that is before the audition scene.
He has to get some headshots.
Yeah.
To ship out to everyone. And be like, I'm the new star in town.
So him and the director Adam go to this
Go to
headshots
the headshot
photo
company.
printing shop.
they go to
and
a Kinko's.
he has boxes on boxes stacked.
They
Like,
said he was going to get 200, and he's like, I got 1,000.
got 1,000 because why not? But then they printed off like
Dick Necker.
Dick Necker.
And you can tell they picked the name Nick Decker just for this joke.
Yep.
That is the whole reason his name is Nick Decker in the series, because like we want to make the Dick Necker joke.
He's like, I spent $900 on this.
It's like I sold my
It's
life.
like, just
for
give
it.
me my money back. It's like, well, sir, if you see here, you clearly wrote down in the invoice
Dick Necker.
Dick Necker.
Which is the part where this movie breaks apart in the fairly realistic mockumentary.
Yeah.
Which is like, no one is no. I don't care how plastered you got the night before. Which there is no implication that he was in any like frayed state of mind. I don't care what has happened. There's no way, even your fake name, you're going to screw it up like that. Especially because it's a written form. It's not a printed form that he handed him. So he wrote that down with his own hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I would never be like Sefri Sweeney. Like
Jan Dackman.
Jan Dackman. But yeah, there's the audition scenes next.
Which is the only other good joke in this thing. The Australian cab driver.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's the other really good joke in this. And then they're like, no, you're supposed to be a grizzled New York cab driver. And then he just does the Australian accent again, but grizzled.
And then it cuts away.
Yeah.
I like when he's doing the Baywatch audition, and it like quite literally he strips down to his underwear.
Yeah, they have
and
him stripped down to
this
And
is
he's
where
running.
This is where I was like, this. I mean, I know they're making fun of this.
Yeah.
But this is also, given 1998, probably what really happened
this
in
is-
audition rooms.
Like I said, this movie has a bite. It's very accurate. It just doesn't land the satire part of it.
Right. And so
It's in some weird like ether between parody and realistic.
It's accurate
documentary.
in the parts where it is just him trying to actually get a role, but when they go for the everything goes wrong parts is when it falls into
Yeah.
the full parody section.
It gets all the like the machinery of Hollywood well.
Yes.
Because Hollywood is a machine. This we know. And you know these auditions are pretty well like he's forced to strip down, like he's really demeaned in the auditions between the taxi driver and all that. But he does finally get a role, and Adam is very happy about this because he's getting worried.
Bystander number 2, I believe they
Yeah,
called
he's
the
playing
role.
bystander number 2 in Baywatch. And I was not expecting this to be like a real scene that happens. I thought like, yeah, he's gonna like show up and it's gonna be a beach.
What would be beautiful is if
But there's a whole base camp. Like he shows up at the actual set of Baywatch.
no, the question is, I would love to find this episode of Baywatch and see if they actually let him into this role.
I don't think they did because they
I think
swapped
this
him
was
out
a
with
fake. Like they probably did this during the lunch break.
the
of
lunch break
Baywatch.
of Baywatch.
Do you think Adam Rifkin just walked up to them and just went, "Hey, so like, I'll throw you $50 if you let me"?
Yeah. Because you can tell it wasn't an actual set because there's no way they would build this whole base camp for Welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah. No
Because he shows up at a base camp. He's introduced to the second AD. He's like, yeah, we're going to set you up in your trailer. Bystander number 2. First team PA will be along and grab you in a little bit, and then we'll get going. Hair and makeup are going to get you cooking. Stuart just had, like, acid flashbacks when I said those words. It's almost like you do that for a living.
Yeah, it's almost like I do first team PA for a living.
But we get to the beach.
As somebody who has actually worked with like reporter number 2 on a show before, like hearing the words bystander number 2, it's just like, yep.
So it's like I watch movies to get away from this.
Somebody probably actually had to wrangle, Nick Decker on set.
But he gets there, and then actual David Hasselhoff shows up.
Yep.
One of like the 3 actors who was actually in this movie.
In it.
Like in on the
Like
joke,
like
in it.
on the joke. Like it's Hasselhoff, Lawrence Fishburne,
Which is
and
Lawrence
Tom
Fishburne.
Arnold? Question mark.
Lawrence Fishburne is arguable. Like
It's a weird one.
it almost feels like they just walked up to him and caught him off guard. Like there's something about him that feels like he's just like, okay.
Yeah, you can't really tell, but Hasselhoff is in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's also a producer of Baywatch, and he's like, yeah, Nick, we're going to get you in. We're going to get you in. He's supposed to run up and yell, look, someone's drowning.
They have like a full fucking crane and
Yeah.
like 2 cameras set up and all this stuff. Like, it's a set.
Yeah.
that they're on.
They were filming that day, man.
And there's a pretty good bit of him being like standing by the beach rehearsing his line over and over again, even though it's like such an inconsequential part of the episode.
I love the amount of effort he tries to give the look or hey, he's drowning.
Because as anyone who's been present on a set will know that there's no one who takes their job more seriously than the background and one-liners.
Yep, that's 100%
They
true.
think that it will be their break.
Yes, everyone's trying to really show. I worked on something recently where we had like 15 background, and the one thing I told these people is don't go in the street.
Patton Oswalt has a really
hot take. How many of them do you think went in the street?
all 15.
Because like they were all trying to be the guy in front of the crowd because there's a crowd and they're watching something happen. And all of them want to be the guy in front who's like most clearly in camera.
Yeah.
And so like they would just like leapfrog each other to always be the guy in front.
That's how they found Tom Cruise.
Yeah. And I'm like, you're all out of focus. You're blurry. My God.
Patton Oswalt has a really good bit about that in his Silver Screen Fiend book when he's on the set of oh god, what's the movie? The Submarine. What the hell is it?
Yeah, the Kelsey Grammer submarine movie. Where
Yes.
Patton
And
Oswalt's like, I actually I can't finish out the shoot, so he walks off a submarine in the movie.
He tries to give lines and like he goes hard at it, and the director's just like, "What the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck back there!"
Yeah, it's like it is a pretty good bit of Nick Decker like really going for this one line role. Like,
Because
that's
it's
gonna
accurate.
Be his, that is how it happens.
So it's not how it happens, but it's how they think it happens.
Yes.
So he's on set of Baywatch, and he's getting ready to do his line.
And he steps on a stingray.
He runs out into the water and just collapses, and he's in pain. And they all come and get him. They're like, "Do you have a medic on set?" Like, "Yeah, we got a medic on set." And they find out like his foot is bleeding because he's been stabbed by a stingray barb.
One of I think Rifkin himself asked, "What's a stingray?" And that joke just doesn't like.
That didn't land for me.
how do
what's
you,
a stingray?
How do you like? Did stingrays only become famous after Steve Irwin died, or like were they like an obscure rare animal or some shit?
I think they're like, keep it elevated, and
Then
he's
he
sitting on
goes
a truck.
off on the back of the truck with
And
it all the way down.
Yeah.
But Hasselhoff's playing along in this, and he's like, oh, I got to get someone. And he picks like a random girl out of the crowd, and it's like, you're saying the line.
And he says something. It's like, "Oh, tough. This would have been his break."
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Okay, David.
Hasselhoff was going to choose him as his replacement in Knight Rider after that scene.
Oh man, too bad. So it's and then he has more auditions, and that's where we get the Australian accent scene where he's waiting in line, and David Lake is there, and as he's waiting, David is coming back from his audition, and he says like, "Yeah, so director didn't say this, but like they want an Australian accent." It's like, "Really?" It's like, "Yeah, like I didn't do it, but I just want to let you be aware of that." And so he steps in the audition room and starts speaking with the Australian accent. And
He's
that's
like,
when
"Well,
they
good
tell
day,
him.
mate. How you doing?"
It's like, this is a New York Grizzly accent. So
And he does the accent again.
Yeah.
Australian with Grizzly,
Yes.
which is another good joke in this film. I really do like it, where they're like, what are you doing?
Australian but grizzled.
And he has a few more audition scenes. Like there's one where he's like outside next to a cabin with somebody, and he's just reading the scenes, like because he's
That
like,
is an uncomfortable scene, by the way.
because he's reading as like a rapist.
Yes,
But he's like, "Oh, I'm not the hero of the movie."
He's
He
like,
raped
"You're-"
this girl in high school, and like they're meeting each other again for reasons that I don't ever think are defined unless
Yeah.
I just completely blanked out on it. And they're like, you're talking to her, and
He's
she's-
being funny.
Yeah.
Like,
you're
he's trying to be funny.
she's trying to vent out her PTSD about this situation to you, and you're supposed to be like this. You feel horrible about it. You feel like remorse.
He's like, "Oh, I'm the bad guy."
Yeah, and he tries to like play a joke, and this scene comes off genuinely uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is not a good scene.
This is like, God, I was not having a good time with that
Yes.
scene.
It's gross. It's a little gross.
But it's at that point when I'm writing down, he's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really bad.
He's really bad at acting, and he doesn't have it at all. And so I'm wondering the rest of the document, because we're not even at the halfway mark at this point.
What are we at? Like 20 minutes at this point?
We're at 29.
Jesus Christ.
We're over an hour in,
And this is an hour.
podcast.
This is an hour 40 minute, isn't it?
Hour 27.
Hour 27. Oh,
But
God.
next scene, they go to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. And Nick Decker is
He's
just like,
standing-
the reason you want to be famous is so you can get a wax figure like yourself. That's the vision I've always had in my mind. I'm like, you're kind of into this for
And
the
then-
wrong ideas, buddy.
And then
Come
they
on,
pan
man.
across the and then they pan across the wax figures, and he's just standing there with like just two thumbs up.
Oh my
amidst
god,
the
his
wax
two
fig-
thumbs up bit. Because
Yeah.
it comes back. That's
Wait,
the
it does?
one. That's the reoccurring bit because like there was one where he's like he's on the red carpet and he's like, we're gonna bring you on the red carpet and I'm gonna introduce you as like Nick Decker and you're gonna be
yes.
like this cool guy and you just gotta be suave and he's like, hey, you gonna be the next movie star? He's like, two thumbs up, and he does it really awkwardly,
Yeah.
and to the point where Adam, the director, is like, "You gotta stop doing the fucking two thumbs up thing. It looks weird," and he keeps doing it. And so, like the two thumbs up thing that he
Yeah.
does with the Wax Museum was a callback, and he does it at the end when he's all like busted up from the motorcycle stunt with his two thumbs
Yeah.
up thing, and I'm like, this fucking guy. I love it so much.
fucking guy.
That's like a good bit that they keep bringing back. Is this awkward as fuck two thumbs up thing?
He's not having any success at getting roles at this point. So Adam has the brilliant idea that they'll go to the big fight in Las Vegas, like a boxing match.
Well, I think what it is, it's like he needs to like film a demo reel with
Yeah.
Adam, and Adam
But
says,
he
"I can't
has-
go. I'm going to this fight in Vegas." It's like, well, that's a great idea. I should go with you.
So they go to Vegas.
They go to
And the
Vegas.
gimmick is that they're going to find a celebrity. They're going to film like this movie, this demo reel of him walking through like the crowd in Vegas trying to find Carmine,
Yeah.
who's his brother. And then they're going to pick an actor, or they're going to find a celebrity and like spring on them.
And they want
playing
Stallone.
opposite the
First
scene.
off, what's the race of Nick Decker?
Extremely white.
Yes.
And who is the actor they find to play
Lawrence Fishburne.
Noted white actor Lawrence Fishburne.
Like, I think that it's either part. I think that it has to be part of the joke.
Yeah.
That's the
Is that
thing.
this demo reel makes no sense because he's coming up being like, Carmine, you're my brother. And Lawrence Fishburne does like a New York accent. He's very funny in this scene. Lawrence
He is
Fishburne's very good.
Well, like the way he's like looking around the stadium, he's like, Carmine, Carmine.
you
And like it's like after the fight's done, so like all the crowds are all around, and it's just
he
like,
goes up to what is it? One of the fighters and like the promoter, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Have you seen Carmine?" And they're just like, "Who
No.
the fuck are you?" And then he just turns
he's
away.
like, okay. And he does it so awkwardly. He's like, "Have you seen Carmine?" He's like,
Yeah.
no. It's like, okay. And he just walks away. I'm like, what the fuck?
But right before this, there's a scene I want to talk about that I think is very funny. Where he and Adam go to their hotel room and they're being
Oh
led through by
my
this
God.
Italian concierge at the
and he
hotel.
just
Oh,
really,
man.
really, really wants
It
to get
wants
his
to be in the
breakout
movie.
role.
And this concierge really wants to be in the movie.
I'll get you a piano player.
He
No,
won't-
I could bring him in right now.
And he's got like one of those like really light Italian voices. But he's like, "Yeah, buddy, I just really want to be in the movies."
No meats on this table. You guys want meats? I can
He's
get
like,
you meats.
"Yeah, I'll get you some meats, buddy." It's very. I think that guy's the best actor
When
in
he
this
when
movie.
he
He's
when
very
he starts slipping the casino chips through the
Oh yeah. So they're rehearsing a scene here. Like,
funny. So
and they're like, what the fuck is that sound? And they
He's
go to
just
their
on the
door.
floor.
And he's like sliding these chips through the crack of the door and they open it and he's crouched on the ground. We're not making this shit up, folks. Like he's literally like, I thought I'd give you guys some money.
I think this guy's generally so funny. He keeps looking in the lens.
He's the funniest character in
is
this
the-
entire.
He is the best performance.
He is,
He's
100%.
so funny.
He's hilarious in this mockumentary. What's his name? Is he doing anything? What was his character's name?
I don't know what his character.
Did he go on to do anything?
Probably Tony Meatballs or something. But
But like, they don't say what his name is ever in this. What?
But like, watch this. Watch how much he's trying to stay in the movie because they're telling him, "All right, buddy, we got everything. You can go now." And he just keeps finding new questions to ask as he slowly disappears away from the frame.
Wait, no, it's not Ross Mark. Sorry. Oh wait, yep, Steve Sharipa, entertainment director Riviera. So this guy was. He's actually been in some stuff.
Hell yeah.
He's
I'm
actually
happy
been
for
in
him.
some stuff. Good 76 actor credits. Hey,
Hell yeah.
dude.
Okay,
We got
why
anything
is
good in
he
there?
not the? Why is he not the star of this movie?
I don't know.
Do
But
we got
he,
anything good in there?
He got Welcome to Hollywood.
he's in a lot of shows. He was in The Sopranos.
If he was not in The Sopranos, I'd be
I
very
was going to
disappointed.
make a joke about him probably being in The Sopranos, and then he's in The Sopranos. Jesus Christ.
He was Bobby Bacala.
Wait, how many episodes is that? That's
He was a series regular in
okay.
The
So he's
Sopranos.
okay.
So he didn't do anything between 1999 and 2007, and afterwards he was in Open Season 2. And then he's just in TV
So in
shows.
season 2, that animated movie.
Yeah.
The WWE. Wait, no, that's Surf's Up. They got the WWE.
Oh Jesus Christ! I forgot about.
Pretty much
Surf's
after
Up.
that, he's mostly just in like TV series. He's in like some small films. So he's not like big name, but like I'm happy to see him working. He was
Yeah.
in Jersey Boys as Vito.
He was fun in this movie. He was really.
He should
fun.
have been the lead of this movie. This movie would have been so good. I would have given this movie 5 stars had it have been about an extremely Italian hotel concierge trying to break in Hollywood.
He just keeps staring at the camera, trying to get his mugshot in there.
He is just so funny, and Welcome to Hollywood. It makes me so happy.
that he had success.
Oh, and then
Has
he
written 6 books. Graduated from Brooklyn
What?
College.
Jesus Christ.
His lives in New York City.
Hell yeah.
With his wife and 2 daughters.
And then he comes back in at the end because
Don't spoil.
Rifkin's trying to make.
We'll get really hype when he comes back at the end of this, because I think it gave me so much joy. But he finds Fishburne. They find Lawrence Fishburne,
Yes.
and they make him play
And
opposite
I
the scene.
cannot tell. I really cannot tell if he was in on the bit.
I think he had to have been, if only because like with a lot of these like interviews, they could probably get away with putting the celebrities in this movie. I feel like had Lawrence Fishburne like been required to speak lines, I don't think you can get away with putting him in this movie without him.
Without SAG breathing down your
without
neck.
SAG coming at you.
Yeah.
Like when it's just interviews and it's just impromptu, you probably get away with it. But when it's SAG would be on this movie if he was not aware.
Oh,
Yeah.
they would have killed him. They don't fuck around, dude.
But Fishburne's actually really funny in that scene as well. Because he does
Well-
this like really thick Brooklyn accent.
Well, and it's funny because like he doesn't give Nick any room to fit
Yeah.
in lines because he's like, Carmine, it's me, your brother, and he just starts going off on a tangent.
Fishburne
and
just goes in.
he just goes in on it, and like Nick doesn't say anything else, and then the demo reel ends, and it's like,
And it's more of Lawrence Fishburne's demo reel than it is his when they get to the actual money shot.
yeah. So it's at this point I'm pretty sure we get to the girlfriend cast.
Which
Yes.
is the single-handedly worst part of this film. I feel like I can confidently say we're at general consensus on that.
Yes.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's some like random bits of him like meeting. He meets with like Erlen. He meets with Tom Arnold for some reason. Tom Arnold's in this movie.
Yeah.
Has multiple lines. And then it's the girlfriend auditions where they're like, okay,
Literally the
the
casting
only way we're
couch
gonna make
meme.
you famous is if you have a girlfriend who we can like promote you with.
Yeah.
So they audition all these young actresses.
And one of them
Oh my god, the girl that like goes hard at it.
hard in the
And like
paint.
they're literally just telling them like you're gonna have to live with him, sleep with him, all that stuff.
Well, and he's like, the director Adam is like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Yeah, but it's like
But, like,
the
wink,
inference
wink,
is
wink.
that we're not gonna hire you if you don't do it.
Right, exactly. It's pretty
which-
fucking
This
awful.
scene was directed by Weinstein, if
Yeah.
you didn't know.
Yeah.
But that's the weird thing about this movie. This movie is a parody of Hollywood.
Yes.
This feels like the least like
Parody of Hollywood possible. Like
this actually happens.
Yeah.
And you would think this is the scene where they'd really just like dial up the
The parody
like the
aspect of it.
satire.
Yeah.
But this
Instead,
feels,
this is like the most normal scene in the
This-
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. And the last girl that like hops on him and is like
And it's about
fully
it's about
blown,
the she
ready to like blow this
she
guy.
unbuttons his pants and Rifkin's just like, all right, well that's it. We'll call you back.
and then
And then
she
they hire
leaves.
none of them.
And then she leaves, and Adam is like, Nick, you good? And he's like, I think we should hire her. And then they say, okay, well, that was all the girls. None of the famous girls showed up. And then
Yeah.
the casting director's like, yeah, I don't think they're
Yeah,
gonna
they're
be
like, this
interested.
bit isn't gonna work.
Jennifer
unless-
Aniston passed, Courtney Cox, but obviously it's all the Friends cast.
Yes.
They got all they called all the Friends cast like Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, they're not going to do this. I wrote down a quote like, what kind of money are we talking about? Because they call one of the actors' agents. So it's like, yeah, we were interested in having her be the girlfriend for Nick Decker. And the first thing is, what kind of money are we talking about?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, It's an awkward pause. It's that conversation that every fucking indie producer has with cast and crew when it comes to pay.
It's a great experience.
It's not really about the money. Like, it's more about the experience and the
I'll pay
message.
you in exposure.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like this movie's gonna be really big, and then when we make the sequel, my next movie, but they picked the girl Angie.
Yeah.
Who it's never
is-
explained what she had been in.
Yeah.
Is she? So this is the part I didn't get. Is she playing a character, or is this an actual person? Because I'm unaware.
She's
of her.
playing a character.
Okay, so because I was unaware of the name, and I'm like, did they actually
Angie Everhart?
did they get someone?
In this mockumentary is married when they
Yes.
hire her.
Yes, which is
be-
a singular throwaway line that they never bring up again.
No, because like they mentioned that all the scandals were starting, but like nothing after that.
Yeah.
We never see her husband.
We never see her.
Yeah,
husband.
she's at home in that like when they try to call her back, she's at home, but they just never acknowledge the husband again, and she's like, I guess I'll do it, sure.
Angie Everhart is played by an actual actress named Angie Everhart. Like, she's playing herself in the movie.
Okay.
But she's not like a big name.
What's her top role?
Her top credited role on IMDb is The Last Action Hero, where she plays Video Babe.
Okay, so she is just extra
yeah, she's-
promoted to.
And like she's like featured extra like support, like can't like appearance on TV
Okay.
actress. But I guess like for some they have her in this movie as like a superstar. And the whole bit is like she's just got married, but we're gonna make the thing about how she's like cheating on her husband. Mm-hmm. So they hire her. She agrees to do it for some reason.
Yeah.
And they go to the Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah, they go to Sundance. They're doing some events where they're like together, and it's supposed to be like this thing where like a bunch of the press are doing stories on, this girl's with Nick Decker, and like, who's this guy?
It's never explained how he gets that like that article on the up and coming actor in what was it, Hollywood Reporter?
He's in the Hollywood Reporter and Variety because he's with this this famous girl. And for some reason that results in him getting a bunch of articles written about him.
Yes, and he gets like this upcoming superstar article, which is it's way out of left field with how the parody in this film has been going so far.
Yeah.
To hit you
It's
with
been
this
like realistic parody, and now it's like
Hollywood
Now it's getting
superstar.
unsettling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this is not how that would work.
Yeah.
But it works, and he meets with a producer who tells him he's making a movie that's a cross between The Werewolf and The Abominable Snowman.
And then he adds in later on when he's talking to David Lake about the scene, he adds in some other monster that I cannot remember.
He's like, yeah, Frankenstein's involved too. But the producer's also like, I'm sensing a little Travolta Willis in you.
Yes, when he's talking about
like-
his emotional range, and
Yes.
you noted emotional range actor Bruce Willis.
We have talked on this very specific show about how Bruce Willis's like skill as an actor in that is that he's a blank void you can put other emotions onto.
Yeah, like the crew. What was the effect? The Kuleshov effect.
In Pulp Fiction, where like he's a blank face, but Ving Rhames is putting all his emotions onto it.
Yeah,
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
In our Pulp Fiction episode. So I would not use Bruce Willis as a great example of an emotional actor.
Yeah.
This is no disrespect.
Yeah, no, he's good for what he does.
Yeah.
It's just if you wanted to get like,
Travolta makes sense, not in terms of comparing him to Nick Decker, but in terms of like, an emotional actor.
Yeah. So it's at this point, I believe, the director Adam gets a feature film.
First, they pass on Nick and they give the role in the movie to David Lake.
Yeah.
Who's just like become this recurring force of evil in Nick Decker's life.
yeah, he becomes this weirdly like comic villain against him. Like the only scene where he does any actual malice is the Australian accent scene. And otherwise, it's just he's getting successful in the background while Nick Decker over here is getting jealous.
They try one final desperate measure because Adam gets offered a movie. They try one thing before he starts his movie. They go to the Oscars. We never see them make it inside of the Oscars. We only see them on the red carpet, which probably goes along to them just having a press pass.
Yeah.
They meet up.
Adam is wearing this ridiculous top hat.
Adam
this huge ass top hat. They're handing out Nick Decker's headshots on the red carpet, and this is something you get the impression the people were not actually in on the bit, because he does hand it to some like famous people, like Roger Ebert turns them down for it. R.I.P. Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
Salma Hayek passes on it. They're all like, "Why is this guy handing out his headshots on the red carpet at the Oscars? How did this happen?" But next scene,
Welcome to Hollywood.
his producers, Adam's producers, are like, "You need to cut this movie off and make your next movie. This is going to torpedo your career. We have all this," and they say the words, "We have all this footage of you looking like fucking Mr. Peanut on the Oscars red carpet."
Oh, God.
His top hat is huge. He does look like Mr. Peanut.
That top hat was written just for that joke.
Yeah.
Looking like Mr. Peanut on the red carpet. Remember when Mr. Peanut died last year?
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
They made their whole marketing scheme was that Mr. Peanut died. You're gonna have to learn how you have to watch the Super Bowl.
Jesus Christ. And then his other movie, by the way, what was it? Deadline, Deadlocked, something like
Deadlock, something like that.
that. I checked out IMDb. Came out before this movie.
Oh wait, it's an actual movie that he makes.
Yes, it's a real movie that he made. It is. I checked. It's his director credit just before this movie. So I don't know if they were being made in tandem. I guess they were.
I would guess he was already making that movie and decided it would be fun to make this movie at the same time.
It's a real movie.
Denial. It's called Denial.
Denial. That was it.
In Denial.
Yeah, it's a real. It's a what's its rating?
It has a 5.4 on IMDb. Patrick Dempsey is in it. But there's really not much about this movie that I can find information on. But Adam's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving the movie, but Nick's going to stay on," and the sound mixer and the camera guy agreed to play along with him.
What are they paying them with?
Nothing. Exposure.
Yeah. So Nick is doing this film himself. His next idea is to go to
Con.
Con or Can.
Con doesn't matter. I mean, I always go. Oh, that was a beautiful peak right there.
You're welcome.
I always go with like the people are always like you have to pronounce it in the local dialect way, and it's like it. I mean, it doesn't always work like that because it becomes weird when you get to random example here. Near me is a town called Newark, Delaware. But if you go to New Jersey, there's a Newark also, which would be pronounced as Newark. So it's Newark and Newark.
New York, am I right?
It's in New Jersey, Jeff.
New Jersey's just the big suburb.
I'm going to kick the shit out of you
York City.
right now. Long Island native here, going to kick the shit out of you for saying that.
New Jersey's just a suburb of New York.
Fucking beat you.
It's not a real state.
So how's the Willis Tower over there?
Chris Christie
Oh
twice.
man. So yeah, they're gonna go to the Cannes Film Festival,
but they
his
have
fake...
no money. So Nick sells all of his possessions, including his car, to
in
get
a
the ticket.
weirdly desperate, out of place scene.
He sells all his stuff because he's so committed to becoming a famous actor.
I feel like they almost actually set up a yard sale.
He gets the money, he buys the tickets, and then he goes to the set of Denial to tell Adam this. And Adam's like, "No, I forgot to tell you, I can't go."
And yeah, I thought you knew. Like, I can't go.
But he got tickets for him and Angie to go. But on the set of Denial, you know who pops back up? Because Nick's like, "Why didn't you just put me in this movie? That could have been the ending of our movie. I'm in your movie." And I was like, I'm just the director. I don't choose people to play those roles.
He's like the casting director had full control over this movie.
And then who comes around the corner? Our friend from the hotel, the concierge.
The concierge guy.
Tony Meatballs himself.
Tony
He
Meatballs.
comes up and he's like, "Yeah, I'm really happy to be in this movie right now, dude, you know?
Thank you for flying me out.
And he's like, "Thanks for flying me out. The accommodations at the hotel are great." Like, Adam had
rubbing it in
complete
his face.
control about getting this guy hired, and he just didn't want Nick in his movie. I want to see Denial just in case this guy's actually in it, because that would be lovely.
Oh my god! Wait, no. He plays. He asked someone about pistachios. Like, do you want some nut?
Yeah.
He asked them. His line is like, "Do you want some?"
Well,
whatever.
that's Nick's, because after that, Adam's like, okay, my cover's blown. I got to give Nick a role in this movie. So he doesn't play the guy handing out peanuts or popcorn at a soccer game.
Popcorn.
Yeah,
And he messes it up by saying peanuts.
Yeah, he's like, popcorn, popcorn. And then he does another take. He's like, peanuts, peanuts.
And
Like,
there's only
he's like, cut. You just said popcorn. It says it on the box.
The AD gets mad at him.
He's like, hey, guys.
He starts
we
going over
can't
him
keep
legitimately.
doing
He's like, you sold hundreds of thousands of boxes of popcorn. This
Like,
should come
you
natural.
look like you're doing it for the first time.
Yes. And then they cut his scene. And then Rifkin has a conversation with him in the parking lot afterwards. They're like, yeah, we cut your scene.
They hug because Nick's really excited. He's like, oh, that's really kind of him to cut my scene, even though it's cutting this chance to end this movie. So he goes to Cannes.
And meets noted actor of Clean Slate, Cuba Gooding Jr.
He meets Cuba Gooding Jr. He and Angie go.
And she doesn't tell Angie that Adam isn't going.
Yes.
And that Adam's no longer a part of the project.
There's also a random interview with Matthew McConaughey where he rambles about a hot dog for like a minute. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
McConaughey's just like, yeah, you know, if I was famous,
I only remember it because you're playing the movie.
He's like,
And it's almost so on brand for him that I almost feel it. If someone told me this was completely unscripted, I would believe them.
I do believe that this answer is unscripted. Because he's just rambling on about a hot dog. It's Matthew McConaughey in a nutshell, or in a
hot dog.
meat sack. What's a hot dog is?
He's in a meat sack.
But they go to Cannes, and they get a bunch of publicity because it's like Angie and Nick back in the news. And then he drops to Angie that Adam's not coming. And the only reason she was coming because she wants to be in an Adam Rifkin movie.
And they get on
Said
the
no
little
one ever.
boat, and she's like, "Tell me the boat's shitty, and I'll get on the boat. Just tell me it's
Yeah,
shitty."
because-
And he's like, all right, the boat.
In Cannes,
In
it's
front
like,
of the guy
It's
who owns the
It's a little rude of them to be having this argument in front of the guy who owns the boat.
He's like,
just
"Okay,
sitting
fine.
there.
The boat's shitty. Let's go."
This guy's just sitting there, ready to sail them across the Cannes peninsula or whatever.
There.
And they're
Canal.
like, yeah, this boat sucks.
So,
It's a little rude of them.
so that whole thing happens, and he goes to Cannes with Angie.
Yeah.
And it's at that point he meets the
Another director,
the
another
director
producer.
for this action film, and they said your audition is you have to. Well, so he says you got to do all your own stunts. Do you do your own stunts? And
He's like, "What kind of stunts?"
What kind of stunts are we talking about? It's like all kinds of stunts. Like I'm talking motorcycle ramps. Like, can you ramp a motorcycle? Is like
Jet
How
skis.
far? Is like like 50 feet. You gotta like get really high. And it's like, yeah, I can do that.
He's like, "Do you no?" First he asks him, "Do you want this part or not?" Because like this is going to depend on how you get this part. And he's like, "Yeah, I can do it."
And so his audition is that he has to. What are we looking at? What are we
Jack Nicholson is outside the window
There's
right
just a
now.
noise.
So his audition is that he has to ramp. He has to like jump this like his bike off this ramp into which, by the way, in the scene it's just sand.
Yeah.
Like he's if anything he's gonna crash on some sand.
They tell him he's got to do a 40-foot one, but he's only doing like a 5-foot one.
Yeah.
And then they speed up the footage for the
Yeah, they speed up the footage, and then
which is really jarring.
and then they cut it
And it
before he
fades
gets
to
the ramp.
black, and
'Cause
then all you
obviously
hear
this
is
movie
like
can't afford to have him do this stuff.
no, of course not. And it just you hear a bunch of car like motorcycle crash, people screaming, all that stuff, and ambulance
And
rides.
this is when I thought, okay, is this movie about to have a really good ending? Because I thought I thought he died.
It would have been fantastic.
I thought that would have been so good if this movie had cut to black and come back up on Adam standing in front of his grave. And he's just like, yeah, so this didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. He's like, but you know, he got to be famous. And then like he held up an article about like actor dies on
in-
audition.
Yeah.
Instead, they're cowards. And Nick lives.
He just breaks so
I
many
love
bones in his
that-
body.
That's your take on this. They're cowards. They didn't kill him.
Yes.
So Nick is in the hospital with so many like
he's
broken
like-
bones.
he's like ti- he's like-
Angie, his fake girlfriend, who
Is
for
so
some
concerned.
reason is still around.
And she's like proud of him.
Yeah.
Which even though she's the one that straight up said, "You can't do this. You're going to fucking kill yourself."
And so Adam and Angie visit him in the hospital, and he's like, "Hey, man, like I'm really sorry this happened to you, but it worked."
Yeah.
And I got some other people that want to meet you. And then the paparazzi comes in and starts flashing him.
Yeah.
And then the movie basically
and
ends.
they do a "Where Are They Now" thing with one last good joke in which they say that they bought the rights to the Nick Decker story. Adam Rifkin will be directing it, and then they say David Lake will be playing
Nick Decker.
Angie Everhart is currently single and acting in major Hollywood films.
Oh, man. But is she single?
David Lake has been signed to star as Nick Decker in the Nick Decker story.
Yeah.
Good final joke. And then Dennis Hopper just pops, who did not appear in this movie, Frank, just says, "Welcome to Hollywood."
They do like a star thing.
Yeah.
And we get another John Travolta.
where he just says, "Welcome,
Welcome to Hollywood." That's where Adam Rifkin obviously like said, asked them questions at the very end of the interview process. All right, and then can you just look in the camera and say, "Welcome to Hollywood"? And
They all go through it. That's why all these celebrities are on the front box of this movie.
yeah.
But it's that's the end of the movie. I think it's
That's the end of the movie.
I think it's cowardly. He should have died, and that would have been actually a good ending to this movie. Is Adam being like, "All right, so this didn't really work out well."
Well, it's like if there's any knuckleheads that don't know that this is a mockumentary by then, surely at that point it's like, oh, there's no way this is real. You show it to your grandma or something. It's like, this is what Hollywood's like, and it kills actors.
Which it kind of does. Very much. Baywatch second AD. Carrie. Yeah. I'm looking through the credits.
I love that part of the credits of this
All right.
film are actual Baywatch credits.
Jeff, how did this have an effect on John Travolta's career?
So the
Launched him into stardom.
the impact of this movie
The impact.
is that it apparently comes out.
Great.
It was screened at the AFI in 1998. Got a wide release in 2000, or a wide, quote unquote, in 2000. Otherwise known as it
What's
probably
its
showed at
box office?
I can find no information.
Is there no budget?
It was distributed by HBO. So
Okay.
HBO published it.
Oh,
Maybe
right.
let it screen in like a few theaters.
There's no listed budget for this thing?
Not that I can find.
And no box office. I doubt many of Adam Rifkin's films have listed budget or box office because I looked at them.
So here's something. Apparently, Adam Rifkin
Yes?
played, designed the poster for the movie Encino Man, the Brendan Fraser comedy where
What
he's
the fuck? That's such a random ass poll.
yeah, and apparently Jon Favreau played Adam Rifkin in a movie once. There was a movie about Adam Rifkin's relationship with another writer-director, and
Why was there a movie
Jon
about that?
Favreau played. I have no idea.
Why? I almost want to see it out of pure curiosity.
Adam Rifkin, A+ curio of the industry. Like, I want to know what's going on with this. But in terms of Travolta, this movie just serves as a little landmark.
Is this the only movie that it's a self-credit in your list? Or are there other movies that you have in here where it's John Travolta as John Travolta?
Okay, so there's one more where it's John Travolta as John Travolta.
Is it the documentary?
No, it's John Travolta as John Travolta as someone else.
So it's like Robert Downey Jr. Oh, no, not Robert Downey.
It's when we get. It's
Not
also
Robert-
say it's Austin Powers 3. John Travolta, the opening of the movie is Austin Powers' life has been turned into a movie.
Okay.
And it's a fake trailer for the Austin Powers movie where Tom Cruise is playing Austin Powers and John Travolta is playing Goldmember.
And he's credited John Travolta, as John Travolta.
as John Travolta as Goldmember.
Okay.
So that's the only other time it'll be a self-credit. And that's like only a 50-50 self-credit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Welcome to Hollywood. We got Welcome to this movie comes out, it plays on HBO once. I had to order a DVD to watch this.
Yeah, and I watched it a very legal way as well.
You watched my DVD, but digitally.
Yeah.
My last note for this movie is he should have
Apologies
died.
to Adam Rifkin, who's missing out on royalties of this film.
Sorry to Adam Rifkin and Adam Rifkin alone. Any last thoughts on Welcome to Hollywood?
It's like there's a total review. It's just boring.
Yeah,
It really, it's very dull. It, by the way, it went by fast for me. I'm not sure about you, but this movie
It
felt
went by
like,
pretty fast for me.
It felt
too.
like I was in and out in an hour flat.
I will say the exact opposite.
It dragged for you.
This movie, I watched this movie, spoiler, or around the same time I watched Get Shorty. Get Shorty is like almost a 2-hour movie. This is under an hour and a half, and this felt longer than Get Shorty to me. This felt long.
Interesting. Get Shorty felt immensely longer.
It felt like I just watched an episode of Project Greenlight.
I'm just watching, like, Project Greenlight, at least, like, it's real-ish.
Yes.
But the whole time I'm like, oh my god, this movie just keep going.
I don't know. For me, it just went. It felt like it was an hour. Mm-hmm. I really did not feel like I was stuck there.
This is not the worst movie we ever covered, but
Not the worst.
But it's bland.
It's maybe
It is bland.
Yeah, I was about to say it's maybe the least existent, but no, we've covered some less existent
I don't
movies.
hate it, but I struggle to say anything positive about it. That would I would never recommend this movie to anyone, but I wouldn't say stay away, just don't never watch it.
Yeah, this movie had a sense of potential, especially in the opening, where it could have like
It crashes when it gets to the Stingray.
yes, like it could have been about like a real biting satire of Hollywood, but it can't do it if Adam Rifkin's playing himself, and we aren't like in on the joke of this guy being bad.
There's no way to end this like if you're gonna do a biting satire of Hollywood, he can't end up successful.
Yes.
But you can't also just go, well, he didn't get a role. You have to end this in a big way, and that's what they did with the stunt. But
This feels like Adam Rifkin was just grumpy at Hollywood and decided to be like, yeah, they just hire people off of fame. That's why I can't get my real movie made. They only make movies about people who are in magazines instead of real guys. And I'm like, cool. Thanks for sharing, Adam.
Yeah. Great. Well,
Yeah.
that was Welcome to Hollywood.
We were welcome to Hollywood, and now we're saying goodbye to Hollywood.
yeah,
Goodbye to Hollywood.
goodbye Hollywood.
Do you have any final thoughts, or is that
No,
Stu, any final thoughts?
Not really. I feel like this pretty much well said it throughout the episode is that there were some funny bits throughout. I really like the concierge guy.
Yeah, the concierge guy should have been the lead.
That's about all I have.
Yeah.
It's just kind of bland. Yeah.
If anyone wants something fun to do, go to the Wikipedia page for this movie and just look at the insane amount of people
who cameoed.
who Adam Rifkin was very smart to force them into interviews so he could have this insane cast list.
Yep.
This is probably the most stacked cast we'll ever cover on this show, only on a technicality. Pretty big technicality. but-
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's Welcome to Hollywood. Thank you folks for listening. Thank you to Dave for being here.
Yeah.
Glad we finally got you on. I know this has been talked about for a while that I would have you on. Stuart's adjusting my mic in the last minute of the show.
Yeah, just to make sure we get that absolute perfect audio
And
for the
Jeff's
outro.
pulling up his script because he doesn't have the lasting bits of this episode memorized already.
I really should.
30-something episodes
But-
in.
24?
I'll read it for you this time.
But thank you all for listening. Make sure to tune in next week for our episode on The Thin Red Line.
You gypped me. Oh, wait. No, hang on.
That line
Cut
is going to
that.
be thin and red, let me tell you folks.
Oh, man.
That's actually a really good movie that I'm looking forward to covering.
It's fucking... God damn, you really fucked me on this. You were like, okay, you can do Thin Red Line, and then you're like, no, wait, hang on. You're going to do Welcome to Hollywood. Like,
Hollywood.
you're a fucking ass. Especially because I decided to just go in this excited and not, like,
Yeah.
look at anything for the film. And then John Travolta appears on the screen, gives this shitty-ass interview, and then I look over to you, and I'm like, Jeff, was that it?
And I just, like I said, I chuckled to myself, got my pipe, put my bathrobe on, sat by the fire. But yes, make sure to tune in next week for that episode on The Thin Red Line. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. As a reminder, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. You can find us at Travolting Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Pop into our Reddit, r/Travolting. Email any comments or questions to travoltingpodcast@gmail.com. Find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney.
Find me on Instagram at Stuart Elmore 95.
Dave, anything you want to plug?
Please don't find me on Twitter at @Manzalillo
Anything else you want to plug? I've started to ask our guests if there's anything they want to plug.
Gee, I don't have anything, dude.
All right. Well, special thanks to Rebecca Johnson for our graphic design and Michael Van Bodegum Smith for our theme music, as always. Thank you to Michael for also guesting on the Michael episode.
Yeah.
Which has already happened at this point, but I just want to thank him again.
Yeah. Thank
Michael
you,
on Michael.
Michael on Michael. Well, we had to bring in the experts for that one.
You have to tell us how accurate the Michael portrayal was.
Yes.
Is this a Michael or is this a fake Michael?
Yes. Anyway, folks, have a great rest of your week. See you next week.
Bye.